YouTube? It's JFlashXVW, and today I have for you a video about side decks. The top 5 side deck cards of this format so far, including a whole bunch of other cards that I believe we should talk about. But starting first at number 5, Max C. Now, I'm going to have to say that Max C is also tied with Valor, because Valor is super good against Fire Fist. And Fire Fist seems to be the dominant deck of the format. Now, Valor and Max C, they're both cards you can side, and they're both cards you can main. Like, usually, you'll see 2 Max C's in the side, 2 Valors in the main. It depends on the format and how the meta is going. Sometimes you'll see 2 Valors in the side and 2 Max C's in the main. It all depends. But right now, Max C, what is good against is Mermails, Heretic Rulers. It's also good against Geargia Karakuri. And those 3 are basically the top 3 decks I special summon in this format. I wouldn't say it's that good against Fire Fist because they're a bunch of normal summon monsters. You normal summon your bear, Tensu gives them another normal summon. The only time they really normal summon is when they use Wolf Bark. And, well, they do really at 3, but I'm just saying it's not all that great against Fire Fist. I would probably side it out and worry about 10 keys and 10 kins and all those stuff, all those spell and trap cards. But it's a good card overall. And Valor's good against Fire Fist. That's probably the only reason it's up here, because it's very good against Fire Fist, even Geargia. And I would also add Harpies. Going on to number 4, Debunk. Debunk is a great card, and I personally side 2. Actually, I side 1, but that's only because I don't have 2. But Debunk negates the activation of an effect monster's effect that activates in the hand or the graveyard and removes it from play. That is super good against Bujins. It's great against Mermails. And Dark Worlds lose. Dark Worlds die. And the best part about this card is its spell speed 3. It's a counter trap. The only thing that can beat Debunk is 7 Tools of the Bandit and Dark Bride. And Dark Bride isn't seen anymore. 7 Tools is rarely seen. Frequently, you'll probably see it at like, what, not even more than 5 times at a regional. Moving on. Debunk is good though. Number 3 is Overworked. Overworked. Great against Fire Fist, and that's important because Fire Fist is the top deck. I believe Fire Fist is the top deck. After seeing what happened at ARG circuit, how in the top 16, over what, it was like at least 10 of them were Fire Fist. At least 10 of them were Fire Fist. And they're already in the +1 version. So that's the card need, Upstart and Reckless. But that's a later video that I'm gonna do about changing your deck to suit the meta. I'm still saying Fire Fist is a dominant deck. Even though Mermails won that event, I'm still going with Fire Fist. Overworked is not only good against Fire Fist, but it's also good against Harpies. Harpies, Hunting Ground, and Harpy Lady 1. 2 cards that boost. Overworked can actually do something against Harpies. But Fire Fist is a definite side. On to the number 2 spot, DNA Surgery. Now, early on in this format, you can say that this was one of the best side deck cards in the format. DNA Surgery shut down a lot of decks earlier in the format. Geargia Karakuri, that deck was feared early on. And now I see it's kind of dying out. But don't worry about that. The deck's going to be back. Don't worry about that. Now, it's good against Fire Fist because you would change their type from Beast Warriors to something else. And their Fire Foundation cards, they only work for Beast Warriors. So that means that trap card that they use that boosts their Beast Warrior by 1,000, that would work. The little boost they get from Tenki does work. All the little boosts that they get from all the little Fire Fist cards doesn't work. You can also use it in a way, I wouldn't advise it, but you can use it against Harpies. I mean, if you're really scared of Icarus and Zero Flame, then you can use it against Harpies. If you just don't like Channeler and how Channeler can discard a Harpy card, bring out Harpy's pet dragon, and become level 7 since there isn't another dragon on the field, you can use DNA Surgery. When that Harpy's pet dragon hits the field, just change the type to like fish or something. And then Channeler will be level 4. Can't do anything with that. The card is dying down, so it might be getting bumped down below other cards this format. As the format progresses, it's a good card as of now. The #1 side deck card this format. Soul Drain. Now, why Soul Drain? Well, let's see. What does it shut down? Shuts down Bujin, shuts down Mermail, shuts down Dark Worlds. Might not do anything against Fire Fist, but I just said Bujin and Mermails in the same sentence, along with shutdown. So you can see where I'm going with this. Mermails won that ARG circuit that just happened, and Soul Drain against Mermails, what can you do? Unless they have that MST. The only bad part about Soul Drain is that this card is limited. Why, Konami? Why? Why? But it's okay, because you don't have to only use Soul Drain. You can use Macro, you can use Fissure, or you can take a step back to the #4 spot and use Debunk. Soul Drain shuts down a lot of the decks this format, and it can be used alongside with Macro and Fissure. Any deck, basically any deck you side in Soul Drain, you can side in Macro and Fissure. Soul Drain is going to be seen a lot alongside with Macro and Fissure. So getting on to those cards that deserve a mention in this video, Macro and Fissure being one of them, and I just mentioned them. They're like going to be 2 cards that will impact the game in your side deck. Now that we talked about those 2, let's go on to other cards that we could play around with in our side decks this format. Full House. Yeah, remember that show that used to come on? Well, it's a side deck card. What does it do? Select 2 face-up spell trap cards, accept this card, and 3 set spell trap cards. Destroy selected cards. Now what you use this against is Fire Fist. You don't necessarily have to wait until they have 5 back row with 2 face up and 3 face downs. You don't necessarily have to wait. You can use some of your own. Maybe you have the dead Fiendish Chain. Maybe you have a dead Call the Haunted. Maybe you're a Harpy player with a face up Hysteric Sign. I don't know. If you are, target that face up Hysteric Sign and one of their cards, or even your field card, and just blow up 3 of their back row, and you get your in-phase search off Hysteric Sign. Pretty broken in Harpies, would you say? Moving on, D.D. Crow. Saying earlier on in this format, this card was a super good choice, because Bujins were feared, and basically that's why we feared Bujins earlier in the format. So Bujins and this card, basically you just banish whatever they have in the graveyard, like turtles, hares, whatever it was, you banish it. Against Fire Fist, Wolfbark, target whatever Fire Fist monster they target in their graveyard, you just banish it. Mermails, discard Gunday. Gunday's effect, target Mermail in the graveyard, D.D. Crow, banish it. Dark Worlds, they summon that Dark World Beige or something, and you see they have the Grapha in the graveyard. On the summon of that Dark World monster, banish the Grapha in the graveyard. Twister. Now me I play Twister in my side deck, and that's only because some people like to side roll the Creeds in for my deck. So, instead of running Dust Tornado in the side deck, I run Twister, because if they happen to have a roll of Creed and I next turn happen to draw into Dust Tornado, that Dust Tornado is dead. So, if that Dust Tornado was a Twister, and I draw that Twister, hey, I can pop the roll of Creed, and my back row is alive again. Now, this next card is being seen more and more and more, even sometimes in the main deck. And that card is Black Horn of Heaven. Black Horn of Heaven, earlier, back when the ban list was released, I thought this card was going to do something. And at first, we wasn't seeing it. But now, we are. It negates a special summon for no cost at all. It's a solemn warning in a way, but no cost. So, hey, your choice if you want to run it. Next is Rivalry and Gozen Match. If you're facing a deck that uses many different types, you use Rivalry. If you're facing a deck that uses many different attributes, you use Gozen. Not played so much anymore, but trust me and believe me, Gozen and Rivalry are coming back into your side decks. If Sylvans are going to be broken next format, these two cards shut them down. Maybe not Rivalry, but Gozen Match definitely. Because if you notice, most Sylvans, most of them are different attributes. The ones you run in the Sylvan deck, a lot of them are different attributes. So you're going to probably want to side in Gozen Match after Primal Orders come out. You don't have to do it now, but once Primal Orders come out, you might want to throw this in. Next up, we have Mind Crush. Mind Crush is coming back. It's being played in side decks now, sometimes even main decks. Especially if you're a Dark World player, you're going to want to main this card. Because what deck in this format doesn't search? Mermails, search. Fire Fist, search. Dark Worlds, search. Gearja cartridge, search. Boojins, search. Harpies, search. I probably just named every deck in this format. Why isn't this card being mained at 3? Next, T-King. This card would be seeing more play if it was at 3. But we all know Konami, for some reason, put it at 1. So, now, you sometimes see that one main deck T-King. I think we're going to be seeing more of that now, especially from Fire Fist. Yeah, T-King, side or main, your choice. But maybe if you don't want to run T-King, you can run T-King's brother in form of trap card, Mistake. Now, I would only advise you to run this card if your deck does not do a lot of searching. I'm not saying that you can't run it in a deck that searches a lot, because you can play around it yourself. Maybe you can destroy it somehow, like you have a Scrap Dragon out, and you just use Mistake for your opponent's turn to shut it down, to shut them down, and your turn comes, you can just Scrap Dragon, pop their card, and go for game. The next card, Light Prison Mirror. Now, Light Prison Mirror, you could say it should have been on the top 5 list, but early in the format, definitely. Now, not so much. I mean, I can give it a number 6 spot, maybe. Basically, we only cited this for illusions. And the fear of Heretics. I personally don't think Heretics can see me in Game 2, but that's just my personal feelings toward Heretics, because they're all lights. So, Game 1, they might get it, they might not. But Game 2, they're scared. Yeah, they're scared. See me in Game 2. They don't want to see me. Light Prison Mirror. Debunk. Sylvan. They don't want to see me in Game 2. Skill Drain. Skill Drain, Skill Drain. If your deck can run Skill Drain, I would advise you run triple. Because every deck in this format uses effects on the field, except Mermails 2 to an extent, but mainly Soul Drain will shut down and kill Fire Fist, Boojins, Harpies, Gearja, just up everything. Everything? Everything. Everything? Everything. One more card. It's a card that I want to see people use. I want to see it, so make it happen. Make Exceed Avenger a card to be scared of. Do you see what this card does? Okay, this card is unaffected by effects of Exceed monsters. When this card is destroyed by battle with an Exceed monster and sent to the graveyard, activate one of these effects, depending on the rank of the Exceed monster that destroyed this card. Rank 3 or lower, your opponent sends one card from their extra deck to their graveyard. The extra deck! Rank 4, choose one card in your opponent's extra deck and send it to your graveyard. You get to choose. That means you get to see into their extra deck and choose a card to put in the graveyard. And they can't get it back. They can't call the opponent back because it wasn't summoned properly. They can't special summon it back to the field because it wasn't summoned properly. But wait, there's more. There's more. Rank 5 or higher. Your opponent sends as many cards from their extra deck to the graveyard as possible, but not more than the Exceed monster's rank. So let's say your opponent, for whatever reason, had a Draco Sack on the field, and you, well, summon this guy. Now you don't have to wait till your opponent's turn for it to be destroyed. Do it yourself. Take that Exceed Avenger, smash it into that Draco Sack, and make them send 7 cards from their extra deck to their graveyard, never to be seen again. So take these cards into consideration. Tomorrow will be a Sylvan deck profile update. And the Fabled montage is coming, don't worry about that. I mentioned earlier in the video about change and adapting to meta decks. That's another video. Probably a deck profile, but probably another video. Well, either or is a video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.